Well, if you think you're paying too much tax, it's because you are. An analysis of last week's budget numbers in today's Australian shows that personal income tax in real per capita terms has increased from $6,600 a year a decade or so ago to $8,600 a year now. The federal government's income tax take, in other words, has gone up $2,000 per person per year, and that's adjusted for inflation. That's a 30% plus increase. Now, is it any wonder that taxpayers feel they're running faster and harder just to stand still? The only government in the past decade that's made any real attempt to make citizens bigger and government smaller was the Abbott government, especially in its 2014 budget. And all that finished, of course, once Malcolm Turnbull grabbed the Prime Ministership. Yes, the Morrison government did give back some of the proceeds of bracket creep, but the Stage 3 tax cuts for our most productive citizens are still not certain of delivery despite the current Prime Minister's promise. The problem with last week's budget is that it did next to nothing for the millions of Australians who face cuts in their disposable income in the order of $20,000 a year via home loan interest rate hikes, while showering taxpayer-funded largesse on welfare recipients. And the PM and the Treasurer's belated emphasis on Middle Australia will only reinforce the suspicion that Labor's a budget for shirkers, not workers.
The budget is all about cost of living relief in Middle Australia. Support Middle Australia. Support for Middle Australia was absolutely central to support people in Middle Australia. Substantial help for Middle Australia.
It was aimed squarely at Middle Australia. Nothing says Middle Australia like making it cheaper to see a doctor. Middle Australia, Middle Australia, Middle Australia, Middle Australia.
Except during the Hawke-Keating period, Labor has always been much more interested in the redistribution of wealth than its creation. Hence the budget stress on helping those on welfare rather than making it easier for people to earn more, invest and employ. Everything this government has done so far, the closure of baseload power stations, the breakneck shift to renewables, the increases in union influence, the price caps on coal and gas and the tax hikes on super and business have made our economy less efficient, less productive. The government's only growth strategy is ever higher inflation, ever higher migration, beg your pardon, which is great for migrants, but not for the people whose houses cost more, whose wages stagnate, and whose communities are more congested. And if the polls are to be believed, 12 months on now from electing this government, Australians are starting to wake up.